Okay, there we are. Sorry, do apologize about missing the first 59 seconds of that game, guys. But I will now quickly sort out that audio. Doing everything on the fly, of course.
That is what this is all about, doing stuff on the fly.
Okay, I'm not sure if that'll make me sound better or not, but hopefully things should be a bit more balanced now.
Certainly hope so. And yeah, we do appreciate the feedback, you guys. Like, if you just let us know what we can improve, what we can get better on, that's all we can really ask. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely. As far as that this game is going to be going on, okay, let's talk. Okay, you said Trap's going to take it. I agree with you. What do you think the score is going to be? 2-0 or 2-1?
I feel 2-1. I feel 2-1 here. I don't know that Trap is that much better. Oh, okay. All right.
I'd like to be pleasantly surprised by FanTaSy, and I know he is a bit of a tough player to read, but Trap has just been looking very, very good, and just from the way that Trap handled TY in those other games, like, he was looking good.
Yeah, that impressive stuff there. All right, so it does take down... Oop, nice job getting the probe there with the Reaper. That's always a good win. Now heading on out for further scouting information. Okay, hang on, I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okie dokie, no problem. It's just like yesterday, guys. Here we are. Let's see how this is going to go. So the Reaper jumps on in for FanTaSy, actually sees the Stargate. Just like that, no problem. Just sees a Stargate, gets the scouting. So the Reaper, he checked that box. That's pretty much the only expectations Reapers have for them, or Reapers have, as there's not a whole lot. No one else really expects much of them. They spot that one building and they're good. Here we see FanTaSy microing versus this Adept right now. 2 Hellions coming on in, so gonna bruise that Adept up a little bit. Looks like FanTaSy is gonna be going for one of these Hellion plays to follow this up. Going for a Cloak Banshee. And when I say Hellion plays, he's probably just gonna kind of just kamikaze his Hellions in there if he can get them in there. Hellions and the Reaper, of course. Now, this is something that can completely butcher Protoss. It can completely just win the game outright. We saw, I believe it was TY do this to Hurricane, and he just bopped him just like that. So we'll see how much damage is FanTaSy going to get done with that. The Adepts are in position, but some probes are going to be down. The question is how many probes are being split by Trap. Hellions are getting shots off. So far, 4 have gone down, 5 have gone down. Looks like the 2 Hellions and a Reaper are going to run on out of there. Just realizing that they weren't going to get a whole lot more. But oh, look at that. 6 probes go down in total. And for only 2 Hellions, I'd say that was definitely worth it for FanTaSy. Nothing over the top as far as damage is concerned, but that's a very healthy amount of damage he got done.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
No problem. Welcome back.
So yeah, Phoenix flying on in, getting a perfect scout on everything that's going on, and actually going to try to kill some of these Marines, which I feel can get more damage done depending on how much energy you have for lifts here. It's only 4 Marines versus 3 Phoenix. They do scout the Banshee on the way with the Cloak. There's nothing else that's going to be researching on that tech hub at this point other than Cloak. So definitely throwing up a robotics facility, getting an Oracle for Revelation as necessary, and really just playing this exceptionally well to this point as Trap.
Banshee. Oh, I actually managed to pick off a fair few more probes. Pardon me for missing out on the observing, but that actually killed off 6 probes, denied mining time. So FanTaSy is getting a bit of good work done here so far this game.
Another SCV, or something got picked off there with those Phoenix. Going after the Hellions too, it looks like that bonus damage versus light does come into play versus Hellions. Not something you see a whole lot, but Banshee cruising over to the 3rd base, just bypassing it entirely, moving into the main base here.
Oh,
again, where there are no cannons, no shield batteries, no nothing.
Yeah,
and we're going to start racking up more kills. Holy smokes.
This is real bad. Is there even any detection? That Oracle, it doesn't have enough energy. And we never saw Trap make another Oracle. There we go. He has the Observer, but 6 more probes go down. That is the number for FanTaSy today. Getting 6 probes with the first Hellions there, 6 with the first Banshee, and 6 with the second. And
so at this point, it's not looking good for Trap. He's down 7 workers to the Terran player, plus mules exist. So the income is about 2,000 to 1,500 per minute here on the minerals for the Terran player. A massive advantage. He's going into mech here, double factories, getting mag field accelerator, additional tanks. This is the thing. Mario's like, you know what's good against Protoss? Mech. And all the Terrans are like, yeah, mech. So that's where we are with this now. And picking up additional SCVs, though, the ones on the gas, one building missile turrets here, flying on in. Oracle does get picked off by the lock-on. Nicely done.
Looks like a few more probes going down to a Banshee in the main base, and there's actually not a whole lot to challenge this here. The Phoenix are flying back frantically, but, oh man, FanTaSy is getting more and more damage done. Look at Trap's worker count. It's just been knocked down over and over again. This Banshee will get cleaned up, but FanTaSy doesn't care. It already got 6 kills.
Yeah, I don't understand his stubbornness about refusing to build cannons or at least a shield battery, man.
Oh man, and 2 Hellions get on it. This is just disastrous for Trap. Make no mistake about it. He's just having a rough go at it. This game is honestly just a bit of a write-off for him from the start. Just where FanTaSy got that damage, and 28 probes have gone down. He's just been knocked down. FanTaSy pushed him over, and then he just started kicking him. That's
kicking him.
There's
right
no other way to put it.
That's it. Yep. No, you're absolutely right. Third base, well established here by FanTaSy, now throwing up missile turrets 4 at a time, working on upgrades, getting another armory for further upgrades. And the answer to this for Trap is going to be Colossus with extended thermal range.
Yeah, extended thermal lance. The main thing is right now is that Trap hasn't actually confirmed that this is mech. I guess he probably knows now after that Observer flew on in. However, Colossus, I mean, they're okay versus mech. They really fry up Hellions and Hellbats. They're decent versus tanks, but they're not really what you want to think of when you're playing versus Terran mech. And the thing about Protoss is they don't really know what to think of when dealing versus Terran mech, because it is a pretty unexplored style. The fact that FanTaSy is going for this in such a manner is a very exciting one. The fact that he's actually playing a very siege tank heavy mech. Siege tanks have been around a long time, but Terrans seem to be giving it a go now, and that's very exciting.
I just feel like the answer is Immortals, right? Immortals can kind of wander in there, do bonus damage versus the tanks, crush them down in what feels like 2 or 3 hits, absorbing a lot of damage there, and you call it good. That said, not going for Immortal production, but working on 2 additional robotics facilities.
Wow. Okay, maybe he is reading your mind and making a lot of Immortals. Now, the interesting thing about the current Immortal is that they are not the absolute destroy any mech unit that they used to be. They're a little bit more rounded at the expense of them actually being slightly worse versus things like tanks, because they don't have that hardened shield. And we lost Falcon Paladin, guys. But yeah, basically what we've had going on is that due to the Immortal, they're not actually as good versus mech. So in small numbers, say versus siege tanks, they're very, very good. But if FanTaSy gets 200 max tanks, the tanks will actually chew through clumped up Immortals rather decent.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You just don't want to A-move into those, obviously. We'll see how it works out in the end here, but getting some decent couple more probes down for Hellions, just treating this like a TvZ, where he goes mech as FanTaSy, throwing Hellions in there, his mineral dump. Some Marines heading on over in the south here, too, throwing up another base. FanTaSy upgrading. Oh, double expanding here. Looks like building 2 commanders at once. These Marines are, again, mineral dumps. So they're all going to die here to the Colossus for sure. I mean, that's not even a fair fight, Colossus versus Marine.
No, it is not. Somnicron coming into the chat saying, did I miss any games? No, this is the first one of the evening. FanTaSy versus Trap, one of the 10 best of 3s.
Yeah, Somnicron, a longtime fan of the StarCraft 2 and the Afreeca world as well, VIP status. All right, man, here are the Cyclones. This almost feels like race car mech or battle mech, depending on who you talk to.
It's race car mech.
Yeah, I prefer race car mech personally. It explains what it is a little bit more efficiently. So he doesn't want to engage here. He sees 3 Colossus with extended thermal lance. The upgrades we've got rolling with here are +1 attack on the ground already, working into double Stargate. Yeah. A bit of a transition here from Trap. Oh, and a fleet beacon too. So maybe carrier at this stage would be pretty
Carriers
interesting.
or Tempest, I guess. Tempest are okay. It's so interesting to see because part of the reason why mech works is because Protoss and generally the other race that's dealing with it don't know how to deal with it. It's just because there's so many variations of it right now, and Trappy's throwing up these Stargates. One thing that's very interesting to note about this game, FanTaSy is going for a ton of command centers, so he's not just playing like say, oh, I'm gonna go for mech, but I'm gonna go for a timing attack or something like that. He's like, nope, I'll happily macro up his mech, and that's a pretty bold statement.
Oh, disruptor play. Disruptors
okay.
coming in
I can dig it.
from Trap. All right. All right. So again, he doesn't want to engage here directly, not even to the point where he comes in, locks on, and then kites away. He just has no interest in engaging with his army at all. Got more attacks here at the south. Some more Hellions cruising in with their blue flame. They get 3 probes, but I mean, I think we're okay. I think Trap's at a point where he's pretty happy with his economy despite losing all this at the beginning. He is down about 30 supply, so FanTaSy has a bit of a window where he has a huge army advantage, about 115 to 100 or so. And he's going to try to get something done here before the Protoss player can catch up, but I don't know, man. He just seems entirely disinterested in actually engaging. Anytime he gets too close, there's the liftoff. The Colossus are doing a ton of work there too, and FanTaSy is forced to pull back. There are the Tempests getting started now.
Yeah, Tempest are just generally good to have in your army, even if it's just 1 or 2 of them. Just due to the nature of how they play out, their positioning power is incredibly strong. It allows you to poke and prod, which is very good versus the defensive mech style. And so far, FanTaSy is just sitting back. As you said, he isn't committing to anything. So Trap making a few Tempests, not a bad start. Just to figure out where his opponent's army is going. So Tempest and Disruptors, it's a pretty good unit composition.
Ooh, and he's taking a little ninja 5th base up here in the top right-hand corner. I don't think FanTaSy knows about that one, which is a pretty good thing. If you can hide a base from your opponent, it's always a good thing. Again, just engaging on in. If the Cyclones show up, the Disruptors chase them away. It's very good. Very nice here from Trap so far. The FanTaSy has the maxed out army. He's working on +3 ground attack for his mech. He's working on 4 Liberators at a time, but the Tempest count continues to increase as Trap makes them 4 at a time right now.
Yeah, mech is an interesting Terran composition. Oh, these Cyclones, they gotta be careful. Or the Tempest gotta be careful. Cyclones just massacre Tempests. Disruptor getting a shot. Oh my god!
Oh, no!
Oh, and another one. You know how much value those Disruptors just got? That was a cash money Disruptor.
2 major Disruptor hits there. One with 4 kills. Where's the other one? Where's the money Disruptor here that has all those kills on it?
I don't know, but he's a legend wherever he is.
He is desperately trying to find this guy. 9 kills. 9 kills on this one. That's gotta be the one.
That is a serious Disruptor.
But as you said, oh, that lock-on does take down the Tempest very, very quickly. So you gotta watch out for that for sure. But one Tempest going down is different from losing like 10 Cyclones in the space of 10 seconds.
Yeah, Cyclones aren't cheap.
No. Cyclones are expensive. They're gas heavy. They're good, but they're expensive. Another one going to go down here to the Tempest. And now the tank's a little bit exposed. Cyclones have to dart on in. But another, there we go, chasing him away with another Nova there. This is such good play out of Trap.
Yeah, both these guys are just sort of doing their own thing, and they're kind of button heads, and it's really interesting to see how it's playing out so far. FanTaSy with his ton of Liberators to zone out his opponent's ground army, but Trap's really just investing in a lot of Tempest. Look at that, he's just popping off Liberators now. He's got enough to one-shot them, and that is a very, very scary threat to the Terran right now. Tons of Disruptors being shot out, but oh man, the tanks, they annihilate a fair few of those Disruptors. One more Nova goes on out. FanTaSy is pushing.
Yep, the tanks are going to win the battle on the ground for the most part there.
Look at those Cyclones.
Yeah, getting some damage done, but not wanting to go too far in once again, just because they are a little bit fragile.
Look at sneaky this base, by the way. It's not so sneaky, is it?
Are they both hidden
it's
from
in
the
range
other?
Of the sensor tower.
Ah, so he knows it's there. He hasn't seen it, but he knows it exists. Tempests, not in as great numbers as they were previously, but those Liberators are extremely bruised and starting to get pulled out here.
FanTaSy's army over here is not a lot. He hasn't brought all of his reinforcements up, I guess, as his army is kind of being whittled down a little bit. That being said, Liberator is getting on top of this Protoss army, but not getting a ton done. So FanTaSy, he's being pushed back.
FanTaSy's getting nicely. Yeah, he's chasing FanTaSy away here. This base is in a little bit of trouble. It's a planetary fortress, but there we go. Liberator setting up an actual true defensive mode here. Some Stalkers getting wiped out by Cyclones. Disruptors are the big target. Another Nova coming hit there again.
Beautifully done. Trap's just done a fantastic job. Look at the resources lost right now. 5,000 ahead, and that is because of those money disruptor shots he's been getting.
Another planetary fortress getting focused down here by Colossus and Immortals. The repair coming through, but it's not enough. It does go down. Nova chasing that ground army away. Once again, Liberators getting some serious value there. Until they at least go down. 7 SCVs killed. FanTaSy's down to 74 workers from a high of like 80-something he was at previously. Maybe he's a better, more happy at 80-something or 70-something. But more and more Liberators being made all the time here from FanTaSy. Just setting up zones of death. Disruptors getting picked off, Nova's chasing the army away, and this dance continues.
Yeah, FanTaSy, he's trying it, but all he really is making, as you said, is a lot of Liberators, a lot of Cyclones and Hellions, and it seems that the Tempest and Disruptors for Trap are able to dispatch of pretty much all of that. Look at that. These Tempest are getting so much value. Yes, the Cyclones have been able to pick off 1 or 2 here and there, but Trap is getting a lot more value than FanTaSy is.
Oh, that Nova only got 1 Hellion. Come on, we're better than that.
Only 100 minerals worth of damage with that one shot, but oh man, like, FanTaSy, how many Cyclones have died this game? There's already been 32 that have gone down. That is a lot. 66 Hellions, 18 Liberators. Resources lost is really disgusting, as a matter of fact, right now. This Trap's been playing this so well. Tempest just annihilating these Liberators shot after shot. And then Trap just being very careful with his ground army to avoid those liberation zones.
Yeah, he's losing stuff to the Liberators. Like, let's not make any mistake here. This is definitely costing him units, but like you said, he's just making trade after trade after trade that is helping him get into the lead in this game. 27,000 resources lost for FanTaSy to only 18,000. Whoa, where are you going, Oracles? Hey, guys.
Those poor guys misrallied there. Of course, they were going to be used for Revelation so that the Tempest can really use their full range. A ton of Cyclones are out for FanTaSy now, but Cyclones are very clumpy units. That's why the Disruptors have been getting off such fantastic shots on them. And look at that Trap. Steps forward with his ground army when the Tempest get locked on, so FanTaSy isn't able to pick them off.
Trap's army here trying to knock down some rocks, give himself an additional attack path into the left side, top corner of the map, where the Terran player lives. He's expanding behind this too. He is up about 15 supply overall.
Well, I feel as if Trap's got to be careful here. He does give the Cyclones a bit of an angle to lock onto his Tempest in the end. Yeah, it takes a bit of a poor engagement there, I want to say. Cyclones doing their thing. A lot of Tempest get bruised on up. Trap, though, still confident enough to keep pushing forward. Cyclones have fallen, trading out for this, and there is a lot of Disruptors that just showed up.
Reinforcing units for FanTaSy coming out of that area off that ramp and just getting killed there. Nice dodge on the Nova. Another Nova coming in, not going to hit anything there either. The Nova's not been getting good value for the last little while here. Some probes are going down here in the southern section of the map.
Yeah,
but 195 to 150 supply.
Probes are dying, but where?
Well, it seems to have stopped at 6 anyway. Yeah, these Tempests are at a point where they can basically one-shot a Cyclone from distance here, with the assist of the ground army there too. I mean, FanTaSy, he's got a Protoss army parked on his front door, which is not anywhere you want to be, whether you're Zerg or whether you're Terran. You want to engage them out on the map here. The Liberator's getting picked off. There we go. Stalkers blinking underneath there. Additional Stalkers coming on in. It is a 50 army supply lead here right now for the Protoss player. A small group of units are still here for FanTaSy, but every reinforcement he has coming out keeps getting killed before they can really engage and help out with this defense. And as a result, the Protoss army continues to march on in, taking down an armory, taking down refineries, killing SCVs, and just acts like he owns the place.
Trap, yeah, he just steamrolls in. He says, I'm coming in. Knock, knock. And FanTaSy, his army hasn't been able to take on what Trap has, and so Trap has just bullied his way in. The I'm just gonna say it. FanTaSy, the thing he's been doing well this game is dying. He has now lost. That's a lot more resources than Trap. That's what, like 17,000 more or something like that.
Yeah, the math is about 13,000 right now.
Yeah.
It's gross.
GG.
And yeah, there we go. I mean, that was just after being down in the early game for quite a while there. Just
yeah,
because...
Trap came back. FanTaSy had a great opening. And
yeah,
that might be why you want to stick with Bio, guys, because Trap probably wouldn't have had as good of a time having a comeback if that was just a normal Bio game.
Oh, absolutely. Agreed 100% there. It took longer for FanTaSy to get amped up and ramped up there with his army and just gave Trap enough time to kind of regenerate his stuff there. So great game there for sure. Let's get into game number 2 between these two players. This is a best of 3, as you are aware of here. But yeah, welcome aboard. This is going to be LaughNgamez and Falcon Paladin. This is your first time here. Welcome. We do cast out here about once every 2 weeks or so on AfreecaTV.com. And a really high level, incredible stuff too, you guys. These are players you know and love. And coming out here to catch them in tournaments maybe you're not as familiar with is definitely a good time.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And this is a bit of an experiment as far as our events go. We've never really done this group stage format before. It's our first qualifier, but it's good to change things up, get a bit of variety. We've had a lot of great games so far. And that last one, while it was a bit of a bop, it was definitely an interesting game. We are now loading on into the next one.
Yeah, game number 2 here on Year 0, Amon's Domain.
Yes.
Actually, I don't know that he has control here as much as he can just kind of watch what's going on.
He's just watching.
Yeah, just kind of hanging out. He's like, hey guys, how's it going? How are my creations doing here in the year 3062?
Yeah, by the way, big thanks to HaHaHa0666, I believe it was, for the 10 balloons. They are appreciated.
Balloons.
And now, here we are, into the next game. Spawning up in the top left-hand side of the map, it is Trap for Team Jin Air.
And spawning in the top right, he needs to win this thing or he's in a lot of trouble. It's the Blue Terran player, FanTaSy.
Yeah, you can, another 10 balloons, by the way. Thank you.
Whew.
Glad you guys are enjoying the stream, and it's very appreciated. But no, as far as wanting to win this series goes, since it is a bigger group, that means that there's sort of more leeway to sneak your way in. Top 3 out of 5 advance. So the odds are in your favor, statistically, just right out the gate because of that. 60% make it through. But
True fact. The odds are
indeed.
ever in your favor.
You still got to play some damn good StarCraft, though. And every series, it does matter. It's not the end of the world if you lose one, but winning a series feels a lot better than losing one, I guess. I don't know. You're here to win, not to lose, I guess. I don't know. Probe for Trap being a pain.
Yeah, nice juke in there, though. Probe does manage to get out of there without getting killed. He continues to block the attempt of expanding here, taking some quick shots there, and the expansion does go down as the Probe is too worried about staying alive to stick in there for too much longer.
Oh, but he comes back, the Madman. That Reaper's going to kill him, right? He's got a recall. Is he just going to zap? Like,
he gets one zap off. He's like,
you're flying close to the sun here, Probe. Is FanTaSy going to chase it down? Like, that Reaper, it's hot on its tail. But he doesn't know where it went to hide. Oh, look at that. Trap, the god, goes in there and gets like 2 extra shots off on that SCV.
Yeah, he wins the game of hide and
shot.
seek. The Reaper gives up on the game of hide and seek, heads across the map to try to see what he can do, but there's an Adept already on the way, and that probe could go back in there for some more damage, but it's choosing instead to kind of hide down there in the southern section of the map. I'm wondering if that's going to be a proxy.
Yeah, the Adept is crossing the map, and there's also a very specific reason why the Probe goes in there to be a pain. Because 1 shot on an SCV from a Probe allows the Adept to actually 2-shot an SCV building a command center. I don't think he's going to make it here in time. It's going to be very, very close.
super incredibly close.
Oh man, is that
There's
SCV
the
gonna
one
go
shot.
down? Oh, and there
Two
we go.
shot.
That's it. That's it right there. That command center now delayed. Because Trap, being such a nuisance, using that probe to zap that SCV just once. The little things matter, guys. This guy right here, he's a hero.
The game is more math than you guys might realize sometimes. Anyway, Reaper going back in for some more harassment. Adept does not get in for the scout as the wall is raised in time. Reaper actually not moving on the left side, instead just trying to see if there's a quick third coming up or anything like that. But yeah, man, that delay was not a huge amount, but it's going to be problematic. Are these guys going to finish that? They can't.
Oh, yeah, no, they can't.
No. There you go. They do decide to get out there. The Marines chasing them away from their backyard. Oracle on the start there. Once again, trying to shade in there, but FanTaSy's dealt with this. Oh, hang on. Was that bait?
Oh my
God.
god.
Like, hey, come on in. We raised the wall for you. They're going to be able to shade out here. That cooldown's going to come down in time for them to live.
Should trap them. Oh, the Oracle
instead...
comes on in. Widowmine goes off. Okay, that went well for FanTaSy.
Yeah, the Widowmine went on the Adept instead of the Oracle, so the Oracle's not dead like it would have been otherwise. That's
Meanwhile,
interesting.
this Reaper has actually managed to pick off 2 probes, getting a nice bit of damage done. His days are probably numbered due to this Oracle, but he nabs off one more probe before he goes down, and tosses the grenade for good measure.
FanTaSy, great stuff there. Ooh, free Widowmine if you want it.
Oh, that mine. Oh, it recharges. Oh!
He had it and he stopped
He
attacking.
did. No hesitation, guys. That's why you don't hesitate. But, oh man, that was close. Timing has been everything this game so far, with that CC being delayed, that mine recharging. Oh man. And this probe's still just hanging out.
Yeah, the Oracles are moving out across the map here, trying to see what they can do, but there is, in fact, a Cyclone, which has immediately get them out of there. There's a Viking out as well. Double Widowmine here, just causing major problems for any Oracles planning on doing anything. The answer, FanTaSy has basically found a way to chase these Oracles out of his base for quite some time here. So we're going to transition into a Twilight Council, going for a Forge, getting a third base here too. The timing for Trap is looking exceptionally good here. And FanTaSy supply blocked. FanTaSy.
He is, yeah. FanTaSy, though, he does have up his third base already. That is a very well-timed third base for the Terran player. Trap, of course, has his done and on location. Economy-wise, not a bad spot for FanTaSy. He's getting up his barracks. Note how he is playing Bio this game and not Mech.
Yeah, I mean, it's Bio, but the number of Liberators that we see from players who go the strategy versus Protoss, I don't know if it can be considered Bio exactly. It's usually so many Liberators, not support units at all. Anyway, the Oracle's cruising around, just trying to see if they can poke and get any damage done whatsoever. I mean, I think Trap's happy to just sit back home and macro at this stage. He's up 62 to 53 workers. He doesn't have much of an army, but he doesn't need one because FanTaSy doesn't seem to be interested in moving out anytime soon. He's also sitting back. But the sitting back and macro up game is definitely in the Protoss player's favor just because Chrono Boost is so good. Upgrades can come faster, and I really think FanTaSy needs to start getting out here and accomplishing something. And as I say that, he is pushing out with some Marines, tanks, and a Raven for support.
Yeah, we'll see if he does go for an attack. That probe, by the way, with one more goal. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
What a jerk. And then he runs out again. He's going to survive.
That Cyclone wants his blood. Oh, Cyclone misses again.
This probe is a god. Okay. FanTaSy really wants that probe.
Wait, he's coming back around. Come on, probe, get out of there. Come on, probe.
Oh, he's done.
Nope. Oh.
He did well for a probe.
He did. He accomplished way more than most probes do in their lives.
So, Colossus or a Robotics Bit could potentially be disruptors coming out of Trap. However, versus a Bio-Terran, you're probably going to want the Colossus. They just give that
just because Terran
AoE.
is a lot... Yeah, Bio versus Banelings. So splitting versus Disruptor hits isn't really anything too foreign to them either. Going for that armory, probably just for additional upgrades at the stage though for his bio, getting combat shield. Wrapping up on the right side, you can see thanks to the game heart interface, Marine holding the LaughNgamez watchtower, but not for long. He is dead. And Trap throwing up a 4th base there just outside of his main, so he's 4-basing it pretty soon here. But the Terran player is coming to a bit of a timing where Stim's done, combat shield is done, some upgrades for bio are done. He's starting to get a pretty army lead, 68 to 50 now. Move out as the tanks. Maybe we're going to see a push here, finally.
Yeah, Discord is dying again, by the way, I think.
Oh no, am I roboting?
Yes, you are. You're going full Megatron or whatever. Stasis Ward catches some of those units. We can maybe look at that after this game. But regardless, we are aware for the time being, FanTaSy does spot that extra Stasis Ward, so not getting caught in that. He's now moving forward with his tanks. He's got a Raven here. A nice force field from Trap to buy himself some time, because time is on Trap's side right now. He's double pumping Colossus. He's going to be having his +1 armor on the way to give him even upgrades with the Terran. And generally just the longer it takes for the Terran attack to hit, the better you're doing as the Terran or as the Protoss player.
Yeah, Revelation lasts for a good 40-something seconds there, 39 seconds, something around there.
It's pretty much just long enough for the Protoss to have enough energy for a new one.
Yeah, exactly. Does drive Terran and Zerg players insane. Zealot run by into the third, gets 5S. Going after that refinery. The Charge Lots get another SCV. There's some Marines coming in to handle this. I'm not sure that's enough. There we go. More guys coming on in. FanTaSy pushing across the left side of the map too. Kind of coming in to the 4th base of Trap.
Yeah, there is 2 Colossus out, and there's actually a 3rd now, and that's generally the magic number for Protoss when it comes to taking on Terran bio armies. 1 or 2 are manageable for the Terran, but when it amounts to this many, this can become very concerning. And there is a lot of counter damage, and by that, a lot of Zealots over on FanTaSy's side of the map. He had to close his doors, trapping his own SCVs outside, leaving them out in the cold there, and FanTaSy, he's trying to push into Trap, but this is a fantastic spot for the Protoss player right now.
Yeah, all Trap has to do is hold here because I think he's won otherwise. That 3rd base is nothing for FanTaSy at this stage. He's got Zealots inside his natural now too. All Trap has to do is live. All he has to do is hold on to the 4th probably at this, but even then he could probably stack the 4th and be just fine, but we'll see how he's working on a bit of ways to not able to have too much use for it. Oh, wait. Templar goes down, tank firing by. Yeah, the 4th Nexus, I think, is going to die. Trap doing everything he can to try to save it, but no, too much Marauder damage. And the base does end up going down there, but the Zealots are still doing work on the other side of the map. This is absolutely insane. FanTaSy somehow got a 4th down in all of that. Yeah. The Zealots coming around for the wraparound at FanTaSy.
Oh, man.
Trying to get some stuff done. No, they did get taken down, but in the end, there's enough here from Trap FanTaSy back. Medevac's getting picked up in the process. These Marines are not going to make it home to see their friends.
FanTaSy has got up to 9 Vikings, so I mean, well, we've been saying how dead he is. He's not in a terrible spot. I mean, it could be worse. Picks off one of the Colossus with his Vikings, gets that at least. He's got a decent chunk of bio still. He does have the upgrade advantage as well, and he did manage to kill the Protoss 4th, so while we were saying he's pretty dead, he's not in the worst spot in the world. Like, I was ready to write him off. It's not often a Terran loses that many SCVs to a Zealot counterattack and walks it off, but FanTaSy, he's not out of it just yet.
Yeah, he's surprisingly not doing too bad economically, despite losing a total of 34 SCVs in the first 12 minutes of this game. Archon's getting added to the mix here for Trap. He's double expanding. He's replacing his 4th and taking a 5th at the same time. Ghosts are getting mixed in the composition for
Trap
FanTaSy.
is looking to push.
Storm is done too. This is going to be a problem for FanTaSy.
Yeah,
Charge
can
Lots
FanTaSy
chasing
dodge
on in.
the storms? That's the main question right now, and the answer is a resounding no, as massive connections and force fields. GG. Okay. Trap